Hey everybody, this is Petey from the Spinner Rack. We also have
Calvin Ellis, ready to rock.
and Mars out there killing it. Today we are talking about James Bond, No Time to Die, and
Woo, woo, woo.
and we find in the end no, the spoilers will be in the later part of this thing. We get we know that this is the last Daniel Craig Bond film. He's out chilling. He's with his girl. And then he's going to, of course, this they've had to tie in to the other movie. His wife Vesper, he has to go see her. She's like, his girlfriend is like, we gotta just cool out. You just gotta cool out and like move on. This and that. He's like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna do this thing. We're here, we see everything going by. People are moving on. They're burning these lights. Next thing you know, he goes to the mausoleum. Blah, explosion. Then of course his run. Cool scene. Cool action scene. He knows his girlfriend set him up. Girlfriend has secrets. It's bad, bad, bad. But that doesn't stop him. This James Bond, he is loyal. He is loyal to almost a fault. He's with his girl. He's like, yo, you turned on me, but still, I ain't gonna let them kill you. I'm gonna let them almost get to your neck, but at the same time, I'm not gonna do that. But of course, he has to go back to Jamaica after all this. He gets through all that, goes back to Jamaica. You know it. So before we get that, I'll just give you that intro to this. We're gonna lead Tim into some stuff with the FBI, with Felix, and lead him back to His Majesty's Secret Service. Gonna get back in there and get back into Vesper, and then this new villain that's hinted in the early parts of the film. It's a really sort of wacky villain who we see who can't die initially, but this will lead to his girlfriend. All these things set up. So, Cal, what do you think? Because I want to talk more about this James Bond that is loyal to the babes. He's the bad boy, but he's very loyal. The first James Bond that is loyal to a fault.
Mm. Well, what can I say? I never cared for Daniel Craig as James Bond from the first movie on the way through. I agree with people that Casino Royale was a good movie. I really like the chemistry between him and Ava Green as Vesper Lynn, but I never really cared for Daniel Craig as James Bond. I thought he lacked charm. I thought he lacked wit. I thought a lot of the qualities that I had come to see in a James Bond actor and in a James Bond film, he lacked. So I went into this film after four films, which were pretty close to Batman films. And this was the strongest James Bond film I thought of the five. This was the closest to a James Bond film at the end of the day. And you get all the stuff that you were waiting for. You get the gadgets, you get the car. Uh, Unfortunately, yeah, he is a little. He's a lot more loyal than I would have. He's a lot more loyal than I would have liked. There was that nice little scene in Cuba where she's like, "Oh yeah, next time you come, stay longer." I was like, "Yeah, not this guy, not this one over here." But they played up a lot. They played up a lot of the, yeah. I don't want to say classic, but the fundamental Bond aspects of the film. They played up a lot of that. I thought it worked very, very well. And then they killed him at the end. So I always find stuff like that very contemptuous of your audience because if you really followed this particular part of the franchise and you liked it all the way to this point, and then they kill off the character now, it's very presumptuous because we know there are going to be more Bond films, and they tell you that James Bond is going to be back at the end of it. So why are you ending it this way when you finally get them to the point? Where, okay, we got the fully realized Bond, and they love doing this nonsense. We're going to break this character down, build him back up, and then once we get him to the point where he's recognizable, now we're going to kill him, and hey, we're out. So I always just find that very contemptuous of the audience. But aside of that, I thought it was, yeah, this was the closest to a fundamental Bond. I thought they executed very well on all levels. Yeah, I had no issues with it. I thought it was very enjoyable. And I'm thinking that there must have been a ton of reshoots because this is not the Bond movie that they were promoting. They were promoting the movie that they were talking about with I forget the actress's last name, just know her first name was Shonda, and she's coming in, new Bond, this, that, and the other. The stuff that they were playing up, especially in the trailers, you go to see the film, it's not that at all. It's so I'm thinking that they must have gotten some criticism, did a ton of reshoots, and in order to correct whatever it was didn't go well with the test audiences. and we got a very, very strong James Bond film.
Well, Morris, any thoughts? Or are you mad at us again?
It was better than I thought, and worse than I thought. It's a mixed bag because one, some of the other Bonds had so much promise. The set pieces, that Mexico piece in the last movie. Oh my God, I just loved the look. I love the cinematography. The one when he was in the snow and with M, and it was just off the chain. I just felt that this one was smaller in scope. Daniel Craig did a good job, but, and I have to say, I just didn't feel connected to his white, his baby mama. Okay, yeah, there's going to be a spoiler. Baby mama. I didn't feel connected to that, and the villain, I couldn't connect to the villain. I didn't think the villain was. I think this portrayal of a messed up, disabled villain just didn't catch me. I need someone who's bigger than life, like the Dr. No, who comes into a room and he is magnetic and he's going to dominate and his goals there. This guy's like, come on, even his brother, and this is the problem I had with the last week, the fact that everything comes back to his brother, the whole thing comes back to his family. It just was too much, was too neat to bring everything back like that. But continuing, overall, it was a decent Bond movie. I wasn't totally disappointed. I'm glad he died. I'm glad this is over. I like what's in it. I like Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies was The Layer Cake. The show.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
But Killer. I liked him in Knives Out, so he does have range. I mean, he's done a lot of other things. I think he was in Dune. I think he was in a couple other movies, but I'm sure there's other things. My thing though is just I'm glad I didn't really like this whole interpretation of how things went, and I'm glad it's over with now. I want to go back to big spectacle, superhero monsters, supervillains who are supervillains. They try to make it such a down pat, more realistic. But did you ever really believe that that Safin was ever really a threat? That he was a criminal genius? That he was a mastermind? No, there's none. I mean, his brother in a cell does more than this dude did. His brother in a cell was still running. What's the name of the
Spectre.
Spectre, and he was taking people out. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
He had a devious plan, and I'm like, wow, that's cool. He's in a cell, and I particularly did not like his brother, but the very fact this is the #1 movie out of Hollywood this year, #1, which is surprising.
Know what that means? Back to press with Daniel Craig. They were like, "Nah, buddy,
you're not going anywhere. You're coming back."
He's running. You can't come back. He's been killed. He's dead. He's done. Finito.
He's not dead. The missiles hit and he was blown clear of the blast. Or Q gave him a special watch with the force field that once the blast hit, neutralized all of the nanites, and so now he's good to go.
Look, the problem I have, Q is so understated. The stuff he's given him is something we've always seen. We want to see new stuff. We want to see new stuff that is good and over, just over the top. This is just
what, you didn't like seeing Q making dinner for some guy?
No, I didn't.
Q,
I don't need to see Q making dinner for his boyfriend. I need to see Q giving him some top level gadgets that are going to help him get out of his scrape. I don't need to see Moneypenny coming over to sort some stuff out either. This is, get these guys, get them back to the sidelines where they belong, except for the points where they need to interact with James Bond. They don't need their own stories. We don't need to know about their lives. They're not crucial to the story, with the exception that they help Bond, and that's it. But those are some of the missteps that I thought they did with the series, where, okay, you want to give Moneypenny some backstory, no problem. This is how she ended up being in the office, no problem. Done, over, Bond. Back to Bond.
But it was still on Bond. They didn't really go into Moneypenny. I don't know what you're talking about.
I didn't care. I don't care for all this stuff where everybody's got. I mean, we see more of these. Some of these characters are supposed to be behind a desk. We're seeing them too much. And then when I do see them, they're not filling their role. If I'm seeing Q, I don't care if the Q can come over here and chop tomatoes well enough to, make a great salad. You're supposed to be giving this guy the high-tech technology to take these dudes out so he's not being infected with nanites in the first place.
That I
Well,
agree with.
I didn't mind. The thing is, I didn't mind him being at the house because he could do everything at his house that he could do in the office. So that stuff was cool. And but the problem is when you get back and they say, "Hey, once you got the nanites, you can't get them out." And it's like, wait, what? Like, like you're not even gonna try it. And the same when you got to the end where he's like, "Oh, now you got infected with the stuff that's gonna kill your girlfriend and your kid." So you can't go see him. And it's like, no, he would just go back and like, we got to figure this out. He said, or I'll be more important to you guys alive than dead. Nope, it's just loyalty to a fault. I don't want to even chance the possibility of killing you. And then after he's been hurt by her, you got the freaking Cuban chick, you got the other agent. He's supposed to be smashing both of those chicks, and then maybe he gets back with the girl when we find out she's not that bad. Like the whole thing is set up from the bag, all three chicks, and they're like, nah, even though she was dirty, huh?
Ben Affleck's girlfriend?
But that's Ben Affleck's girlfriend for now, for this week.
Oh, the ex-girlfriend. The one from Cuba.
She's what happened? I thought he was back with J-Lo.
Oh, that was X.
Who?
The
girl
one
from
who
Cuba?
Well, the Cuba one, Paloma, I believe her name is.
Okay, so that's Ben Affleck's ex now. Okay. So like he don't leave nothing on the table. He bags them right when they first get in. But ultimately, that's the thing. One of the things where it's like they're doing something for the female audience, since obviously James Bond, which they try to trick you and believe that the women are the sex symbol. Now the women have their James, who's a loyal, dependable guy who can flirt with girls, but at the same time he sees them as hey, you're a new ingenue agent. You got a little like sort of a sprite, sort of like real lively personality. I'm not gonna break the fourth wall and take you to bed. I'm not gonna open the door and go to bed with you. I'm going to respect you as a person. Nah, you got to take both of them chicks. When the Jamaican girl takes you back to the room, that's what happens. The whole thing is set up for that. We know it's a setup to meet the agent, but James is going to bag that. He's not going to waste no time. From the motorcycle ride in, that's what from the time that she bumps him, it's supposed to be something supposed to happen, and that's what was supposed to happen. And they're like, nah, we don't. We're not doing that. We know.
No time. No time.
They got enough time to cut from that. Next thing you know, go home. Next thing you know, they're getting out of bed. All right, what's the plan? What is Q? What is M1? I know what you're here for.
Well,
this, that, and the other.
We might have had some time, but we had to waste time with Q cooking.
We had the whole. We didn't have to do from the ride. From the ride, we cut from the ride. Next thing you know, getting out of bed. All right, so what is? I'm not coming back.
I mean, but it's also a little weird that he didn't do a background check of his baby mama. What was her name? Dr. Madeline Swan, and see who she was, and that he would have found out. It didn't even seem was a very hard thing to find out that her father was Mr. White, an assassin, from what I think it was Casino Royale.
Didn't he know that from the first? Didn't he know that from the last movie?
No, he didn't know. That's why he was so upset. Like, oh my gosh, you beat me. You come on. And she was hiding the secret. How you are a spy, bro? You are a spy. This is your job to know. Anybody you encounter, you should be doing background checks on. You know what I'm trying to say? Come on. From the way they
not. Said I guess not.
So that to me was like, it was just too obvious. It's like if it would have been a different story where she was the adopted daughter of Mr. White, that's something else. You can't see it's not a connection, but she's a freaking biological daughter. Mr. White is dead. Who's your parents? It doesn't say they're hiding the name or anything. Nowhere there do they tell us he was hiding. So I that to me was like, it just to me that overall it was a decent movie. I said it's entertaining, but it just left a lot of stuff to connect, like the Mr. White connection, which is a good idea, but then you pay it off to try to make a connection, but then you don't explain like how he misses it because he's a master spy. He's not a frigging what do we call them in the United States? Operators. The operators are Delta Force. The Navy guys. Those guys are just soldiers. You say, hey, go kill that over there. You kill it. Okay, you're not expecting those dudes to do full background checks on people. A master spy? A master spy? Come on, man.
Well, I'm going to go one step further. You have master spies, and then you have James Bond.
Well, you missed this.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. You got the double O's, and then you got James Bond. James Bond is like the one that everybody else is looking up to. He shows up. Everybody knows who he is. They're always trying to kill him. He's always getting out of it. This guy's supposed to be, this is the pinnacle of the master spy at the end of the day, and he's dropping the ball here. But overall, again, I still thought it was this was the closest to a fundamental Bond film that they had done. Thought it was enjoyable. Glad to see Daniel Craig go though.
But here, Felix goes out to me the sucker way. Again, another master spy.
The less said about Felix Leiter, the better.
I like Felix.
But he wasn't really. He was more of the connect. He wasn't like the guy who goes out there and fights.
But this is a guy who knows what's going on.
He's saying being set up by the other guy, and okay, yeah, I get you.
Just like it was too easy,
Yeah, definitely.
I'm like, oh my God, you have to watch out for the third guy. You always watch out for the third guy.
The way he went out was so. The way they took him out was pathetic.
Yeah.
It was really, it's pathetic because we don't really get to see. He doesn't really do anything. Most of the time, he's sitting down giving Bond some information, and then the first time we see him actually in the film, he's dead. Like in the field, he's dead. It was terrible.
And I agree with Pete. Probably he's not a field guy. Got it. But he's.
No, but I'll go back to you that it was the idea of having to get off those lines where he says James Bond did do some funny lines with the guy who's the blonde, but the next this guy is up to par with James Bond, and they didn't figure that this guy was that he was that in the cold that they couldn't figure out nothing on this guy. It's really
I always thought Felix Leiter was supposed to be the American counterpart of James Bond. That we never saw Felix Leiter operate, but this guy was supposed to be like James Bond, but American version at the end of the day. That's the way I always took it. Once they did these films, Felix Leiter looked like he was always 2 years from retirement.
But he never really did anything in the other. He really gave sort of information to James. Like he was really the American connect.
I always took Felix Leiter as the American equivalent of James Bond. That's how I always took it. They never showed that, but that's how I always took it until they started this series. And then it became more like, all right, they're going a different direction with them. Then I'm thinking, all right, fine, we get to see him in the field, and he ends up dead.
What did he do in the other films that would lead you to believe that?
He was in a lot of
just the fact that, but no.
He shows up. He shows up, and I think there's one. Maybe what is it? I'm thinking maybe one. I always took it. He shows up in there. He's in there for a little while longer.
Because Felix Leiter is the American contact, and he's the continuous American contact. I always took it that, okay, they're not just going to connect them with anyone. It'll be top level to top level. It's just not going to be some subordinate dude. This is going to be somebody on James Bond's level, or at least the American counterpart, because if anything goes or anything of this nature, we got to know that this guy can handle himself and get out of the situation, because Bond's always in trouble. So, that's how I always took it. Now, other people could just say, look, he was just there to, provide information, but that's the equivalent of Daredevil going to Rosie's bar and beating people up and getting what he needs out of Turk Grotto. So I never took it. I never took it for that.
I took it differently because I figured, hey, the British are James Bond, but the United States have all the money, the connects, the satellites. So this was it, and this was his friend. This is one of the few people we can see in the movie that we didn't think would ever turn against Bond, right? Because this was his friend, and he trusted him on a personal level. The only one consistently outside of the British, and whenever he needed something or the other guy needed something, he always came to Bond. So that's how I always saw it.
Well, in the same, almost in the same run of movies, he was always just a different guy, and James Bond had been the same. So it's sort of like it was somehow James would always pick him out of a lineup, but it was just like Sean Connery's James Bond, and he's got almost a different Felix every movie. So it felt like it was more like a whereas this series they kept him as one guy, where the other ones, and it wasn't just from Sean Connery to what was that thing from to Roger Moore. It was across the board. This was just a guy that would pop up and be like, "Hey," and it was cool how James would recognize him, even though he was never the same guy. It seemed like that's one of the hooks. I kind of wish they kind of went with it. Even though I like Jeffrey Wright, I thought it would be like, hey, just some other person picks up that name, and like not different from James Bond, who's always at least consistent. Felix is always kind of like, oh, this is the guy doing the Felix job now. So anyway,
the whole thing with the American and British relationship, the British always say they have a special relationship with America, right? So
Mhm.
whenever you needed the guy to give you more information or to help you or push you in a particular direction, this was the guy. It's the device in the story where, like, the main character doesn't know what everything is, but you have somebody out there who can say, hey, this is where you need to go, this is what you need to do. And that's why, he was always the friend, at least the more I think he was in all the movies, or at least a source of information. So
yeah,
I don't know if he was a field operative, but he was, but he was. I was always thinking like probably past his prime at one point.
Then why is he in the field?
I mean, he's in the field per se, but he's not necessarily. You have different people in the field. You have guys, like I said, the operators, like the Delta Force, who go out there when the government sends them to do stuff. They just point and shoot. Then you have, the like him who's out there just making connections. The classic spy guy making resources and names and stuff. That's his stuff. So you have
I
different.
don't know. That sounds like the first guy. That sounds like the first guy who was like he was definitely in the first two movies. There was a cat that James Bond was linking up with who was definitely out of the field, and he gets back. But once he gets back into the field, he ends up dead. So I'm always thinking if you're in the field, you got to be. You're not putting people in the field who aren't capable or who are past their prime. They even went the same thing with Bond. Oh, look, you lost a step. Your knee is bad. This type of stuff. You need to get out of here. And he again shows why. No, James Bond. Even when all these other, I'm never past my prime of James Bond. But I'm thinking anybody he's going to liaise with has to be somebody, at least approaching that level, if not there. But I'm in the minority on that one.
Yeah. One last thing before we go. What do we think about the Blofeld? I mean, this is to me one of the most troubling things. What do you think about the whole?
him being the brother, I never liked that. I never liked any of that stuff. But then they realized that it wasn't. It was somehow they did try to clean that up in this one, saying that there wasn't a connection because they're like, oh, they're brothers. And actually doesn't die at the end. So it's like, okay, it's not that. But I don't know what else. I mean, I'm not that big a fan of Christoph Waltz. It was kind of just the easy choice for it too. So it wasn't. And I like that Blofeld kind of changed every movie as it went along too. So, but anyway, what are your thoughts, or Cal, on Blofeld?
Blofeld for me was always Telly Savalas. Sorry.
Okay, so we move on past that. My problem with the Blofeld story, and I go back again, this guy is so jealous of James. James Bond's adopted by his father, or fostered by his father, that he's so jealous of James Bond is able to do everything. He's athletic, he connects with his father, that he decides he wants to become a homicidal murderer and to take over the world, creating Spectre. That to me was like, whoa, that is like some serious frigging leap, And
That's Chuck Norris and the Karate Commandos.
To me, that was the problem I had with that. So I just couldn't get over that. But once again, it was a decent movie. I wouldn't knock it. I mean, I have some knocks, some serious knocks, but overall, I kind of enjoyed it more than the other one. I think the other one I felt like it was force-fed. The last movie was just, oh, this is what it's supposed to be. Oh, this is what happens. Oh, this is what. And I just like, oh my gosh, please give me a break. So I'm just glad. But what about next? What do we think should happen next for the next series? Who do you think should be the next James Bond? Where do you think it should be? I have my ideas about it, and I'll tell you guys in a couple of minutes. Okay? So
no continuity. A different movie, different people. No, like no every movie tying into the other one. Keep it loose. Play it fast and loose. Have fun with it.
No, I don't think that works now these days.
None of that stuff.
When there's continuity, people come to see the next one, and because of that, so I can see the reason for a continuity, but does it have to be 5 films long?
All you need is to have the characters playing the roles be basically the same. As far as James Bond, MQ, Moneypenny, go off. You already did enough out of Spectre. You ran Spectre in the ground. So now you got to go find some other villains and have some more. Just have fun with it. The money is there to be made.
What do you think, Cal.
The only person who I actually liked for the role, based on what I saw him do in The Man from Uncle, was Henry Cavill. I'm not sure if that's gonna. I don't know if that'll ever happen though. So just go with somebody new, fresh face.
Henry Cable, yeah. I mean, I heard he's British. They have Idris
That's
Elba,
fine.
which of course people are moody, but I don't think that's going to happen. They have a new guy.
Oh God, please, anything but that.
I think he could. He could definitely. He has the swagger. Or you can go to one of the Indian actors.
I don't want him. No, I don't want. I just want just let James Bond be white. Thank you. I don't want the whole thing that comes along with. I don't want the whole thing that comes along with the race change. I don't want people tuning in. For anything other than James Bond movie. James Bond is white. Just let him be white and be done with it. Plenty other characters to play.
I don't know. I feel that just get the best actor for it. Whoever can bring the people to watch, and it's a good story, I think it'll work. I'm more concerned with the story. You had a white actors who it didn't do that well. You want to just make sure you have a good story and a good actor, lead actor.
Yeah.
I think you can move that. I think you can move other. If you're really looking for a leading man, it has to be English. There's a lot of other English guys you can go. But my big thing though is that I want to see more stuff. I love the international location. That's why people go to Bond. But develop it. Like the story when the last movie, I thought you do just one scene in Jamaica and just one scene in Cuba, and then all these scenes in that damn island at the very end. I'm like, oh come on, give me a break, man. We've seen this island like so many different times. They got to come up with a different vision and change it up. We've seen that. Let's say something a little different. How many times we've seen a deserted island somewhere in some unknown area? Change it up. Make the damn capital like Luther did in the basement of your headquarters is underneath New York City or for something. You know what I'm trying to say? Do
you can only have. I mean, you can, in all fairness to them, you can only have so many secret layers. You can only have so many places. Eventually, I mean, they've gone to space. They had a secret layer in a satellite. You can only have so. Eventually, you're going to run out of places. You're going to use the same places over and over.
I know, yeah. I mean, like, go back to the moon. They haven't been to Moonraker in a while.
But that was, that was even people you still have a place in your heart. It's mainly trying to get to the Star Wars audience, and they did. They, we know what it was about. It's like, let's throw Commander Bond out in space. Let's have some fun with it, which they did. They clearly did.
And they love telling us he was Commander Bond, like he was, commander of a spaceship. Commander Bond.
That is true. Commander Bond. He's not even a captain.
Well, we're gonna have to do. You didn't want to talk about the money.
Why not?
But Bond, started at what, 50 million, opened 50 million, killing it now. Black Widow's made more on its open. Now Bond is killing Black Widow. And the Eternals came out last. I think it opened in the middle of those two, not doing anything. Still hasn't caught up. There's a chance it could catch up with Black Widow. But I guess we'll get to the Eternals later.
I think it's a testament to, we got the whole milieu of what's going on. People wanting to go see a film, but also this film really tacking closer to what the Bond, Bond movies are. And then I don't know if people came to see him die.
I hope not.
Yeah, but then it becomes all right. It's still this is where I never understand why they want to make so many changes, because people are not coming out to see this movie, for the changes. They're coming out because it's a recognizable character, and people are like, all right, let's see what James Bond is up to this time.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, look, we got to understand that with James Bond, it's probably done more overseas than they've done in the United States. Okay. I'm looking at the numbers. You have here. I'll probably shoot this to you right now so you can see it. It's the numbers are such that James Bond is killing it internationally, and so was Fast and Furious. There's a market there, especially because of the pandemic. I just sent it to you, Pete. So it's a different world now. There's no billion-dollar movies right now, but you have the Fast.
James Bond's getting close to it though.
James Bond's supposed to break this week and overcome the Fast Furious. So it'll be number one. You have Godzilla at 467. You
What
have
is this movie? Battle at.
those are the Chinese movies. And High
They're
Mom.
just like, we don't need y'all. We'll just make our own movies. What's
Yes,
High Mom?
another Asian movie.
They're just like, keep y'all trashy movies. We got our own movies. No,
We got our
don't
own trashy movies.
tell me Venom is kicking Shang-Chi's butt or Shang-Chi's butt. It's kicking his behind.
Yeah. Numbers are very similar if you look at them. The domestic Shang-Chi is the highest one, but in the international, well, interesting, right?
Wow. Kong and Godzilla. Ugh. Oh,
The
goodness.
international market, if you can't do well in the international market, you're not going to do well. I mean, take a look at Black Widow. Yeah, 183 domestic, but when you look at the worldwide, it wasn't as strong in other countries.
Well, which one, sir? Sorry, say that again.
Black Widow,
Yeah.
domestic is
Well,
probably
if we're looking at the numbers for James Bond, if you guys, if you're the head of the James Bond people, now it's time to go forward with the direction. What do you see? You made a successful James Bond movie that tacked closer to the actual fundamentals of James Bond. So going forward, what do you do? Do you keep with this grounded stuff, or do you go back to, or do you give people a good James Bond film?
It's clearly a huge audience for James Bond, and what I would do is, you're right, we'll probably tack more to this particular type of film, and probably keep the cost down to boot. But
I just I just saw this movie and it still had people in the theaters. It was like what, a couple weeks ago, and it still had people going in the theaters to see it.
But go to domestic for a second, Petey.
What? You want to see that? You see it right there,
Go
right?
domestic to your left. Go back to your left. Up there. Go up. Click on
Here
it.
we go. You're playing this. It's going. You see the X? It's going. Give it a second.
Okay.
What do you want to do? Yearly or something?
No, do it by gross. Did you click it?
I did.
Okay, click it again.
Black Widow's killing them.
Kill it again.
I hit it. There, you see it?
No, the
Black
gross.
Widow's killing them.
The number is wrong. That's not
He
good.
said this what it is. Look, Eternals is doing good. They should do more Black Widow. Thinking about date now. Which one do you want?
No.
They'll be doing more Black Widow, just not with Scarlett
Go down,
Johansson.
slow down. Go back to worldwide again. Go back to worldwide. Sorry. You guys, scroll down. Go back to worldwide.
It's going. There you go.
Now go to domestic and sort it by that.
I did.
No,
Do we
down,
really
down,
need?
down,
Do
down.
we really need to give the people these in the weeds numbers?
Yeah, we need to give them because we got. If P was a little bit more faster with the numbers, you had the domestic. Go back to it.
I went. It
Yeah,
does
so
it by
worldwide-
date though. He's doing it by.
Just go worldwide. Go down. Go down. Go down. Go down. Go down. Go down.
There's nothing going down in there.
Oh, not this. You got to go across. Go to worldwide, then go straight down from there. Click on
I'm
that.
going to kill you in a
Go
second.
right to your right. To go. Up.
Go
Up.
down.
No, it's
I was already all the way up.
go all the way to the title. Stop it. Let's just go down a little bit. 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 There. Go across to your right. Go across to your right. To your right. To your right.
I don't believe this.
Why do you want me to go this way? For what?
So where it says domestic, right there on that blue, the blue one. Yes. Gee, you wish. Yeah, click on that.
You said domestic. The thing is up there.
And this is what I wanted to do. So you see how Shang-Chi all of a sudden becomes the #1 movie in the U.S. It says
U.S. don't matter. Avengers. This was it. Avengers proved that they released that before we got to even see it. But money is money, right? Let's talk about this domestic thing.
So what I'm saying is that even though they may not be the worldwide, there's some movies that have done very well in the United States relative to what they could normally do. The United States box office is clearly depressed relative to what it was in the world. Before, it would be almost like 40-50% of the worldwide amount, and it's not even hitting that,
Yeah.
And the point of this is,
Oh, the point of this is that we can't just live a life with the numbers that we're seeing now. We have to also be realized that the numbers we have to go if we go back, and the key word is if we go back to what it was in 2019, 2018. This may be a whole new reality. You may have to start including numbers for what they get in demand when they put these films on demand, because Bond just got added to the new demand, online demand. So what do they call it? Pay-per-view? Yeah, pay-per-view. So it's a different world than what it once was before. And it's much more complicated because something may do well domestically but doesn't do well internationally, and vice versa. Or if something may be better at going directly to what do you call that? On demand. What do you call it? Pay-per-view. I mean, like one movie doesn't even show up here. Is a pay-per-view movie was won by this guy, the guy who did The President Is Missing. What's his name again? He did something called Greenland. And I thought that was an enjoyable movie, big disaster film.
Mm-hmm.
It was #1 in pay-per-view.
Yeah. All right.
yeah, all right.
We're finding out right now.
But I think the money's there to make some more James Bond, and that worldwide, since Disney and everybody else is interested in the worldwide numbers, and it been keeping the Fast Five afloat, the Fast and Furious afloat. So
Godzilla versus Kong.
yeah, that's another one. So it's like we stick with well, I already got out of it, but yeah, there's money to be made.
What's surprising though? Free Guy, which is not even most of his money, like 2/3 of his money coming from overseas. So that's it. All right, let's wrap it up. So go see James Bond. We think, depending on who you are, you may or may not like it, but it's a good end to the series finally, and we're hoping a whole brand new thing comes up, a new franchise. And based on numbers, we think that Bond has to be more open to the international market.
It is open to a national market. They just you get some better. I agree. Look at what they did in the hard part of doing that is doing what the Mission Impossible people have to do to really figure it out. You got to say, all right, where can I shoot? So I can't write this script. I got to figure out where we can shoot and how does that relate to the rest of the world. So let's get the location first, and then we can write around that cool location, But or they recreate it, like I think one of those Pierce Brosnan ones. They made it a little too hokey. The Ice Hotel. The Ice Hotel should have been really like a gritty sort of thing, and they turned it into something where James Bond could drive his car through and go around and around. And I was like, yo, y'all, you went too far. The Ice Hotel is something simple. So anyway. Ready? Spin around. Out.